This ought to scare you. The Secret Service agent will now put on his glasses. I'd like to thank Megan and Matt and Mr. Dare for this honor. Good morning to you all. Good morning to the staff, the teachers, the Hope Valley students, my co-inductees, and fellow Bulldogs. First and foremost, I'd like to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude for this honor. I really appreciate it. I thank you very much, and I do consider it quite an honor. I'd also like to congratulate my co-inductees. It's an honor for me to be selected with them, and I congratulate them on their excellent and fine career and accomplishments. I have to say it's a little bit of an unusual day for somebody like me to go back to the high school. I haven't been here in quite a while, at least this part of it. I do come back for games from time to time, but walking around in the hallways up here is a little bit like what Yogi Berra said, is deja vu all over again. And I made a couple quick discoveries in the short time that we were there this morning. The first one being that it's absolutely possible to go to the principal's office under friendly conditions. And that was unique for me. I never really done that. The second thing that I noticed was that this facility came with a library. I knew it had a gym, but a library I wasn't too familiar with. And thirdly, I'd like to dispel a rumor that I think has been around here for some time, that my SAT and college boards were the same numerical value as my bench press. That's not true. My bench press was higher. I'd like to begin with a short trip down memory lane. Obviously, I'm pretty elderly here, and I can take you back quite a few years. But I started out in Pennington Elementary School, which was a red brick building across from Pennington Prep School. Mrs. Hoch dropped me out there one fine day, and that's where we attended grades, actually myself, first grade through third grade. Mrs. Hoch didn't believe in kindergarten, and at that time you could do that. Of course, all the kids that were in the first grade, they'd already had a couple years under their belt, and they're having a good time and pretty familiar with each other and used to the school situation. Young Ronald was crying his eyes out over in the corner, trying to adjust to what I was into, and the kids are looking at me like, wow, what is it with this guy? But I finally got over that and made it through, set all kinds of academic records in that third grade school. Then went across town to the grammar school on South Main Street, and I served a lifetime sentence there, grades 4 through 8. And of course, the 8th grade being where you went from class to class, and that was preparation for going to high school. Having completed that, I went down the road to the high school, which you all know as the offices for the Board of Education. That was Pennington High at that time. I'm talking now probably 1958. And I went in there as a freshman. And if you are familiar with it, on the south end of the building, there's a tiny little gym. And that's where we played basketball. And you'd probably feel sorry for us, but I would say don't, because that was one of the greatest places and basketball games that this town has probably ever known. We had good teams. The place would be packed on a Friday night, cold weather. People would be up in the balconies. It had 2 balconies, and they would be packed in there, and the guys would lean over the edge and bang on the wood boards. And those games were highly spirited, and that was really a great time. The next year, my sophomore year, was when they opened the doors to this facility here. We were the first students that came into here, and God, it was just beautiful, I have to tell you. Quite a change. Everything was modern, new. Air conditioning, by the way. and a fabulous gym down there, which I think you now have two, but at that time that was a very nice gym. And to be honest, this was one of the nicest high schools probably around in this area. Now, to go back in time, I'd like to mention it was a little bit different than how you go to school now. There were absolutely no cell phones. They didn't exist. There was no laptops. There were no computers. There was no emailing, texting, tooting, Facebooking, blueberrying, blackberrying, whatever you do. I can assure you there was none of that. If you wanted to make a phone call, you went over to the little black box on the wall, put a dime in it, and made a phone call. And that's kind of the environment we were in. As Matt mentioned, or Megan, there was at the time exactly 3 sports. That was it. I have to laugh when I look in the paper now, which I do quite frequently, basically every week, and I see what HoVal Bulldogs are doing, and I'm looking at lacrosse and field hockey and football, and I just smile because you have really got it going here at HoVal compared to what we had back in the early 60s, and I congratulate you for that. The next topic I'd like to talk about would be the Secret Service, which I was fortunate enough to be in. All of my contemporaries and friends considered it an honor. It wasn't like it was a job almost. It was something that we loved, and we enjoyed doing it, and we took it real serious, obviously, and it was a wonderful career. I happened to serve on the White House detail for Presidents Ford and Carter. It was an amazing experience. I did serve after that on the bomb squad and a couple field offices. It's a job that's unique in that it's a 2-part job. Not many people know that. There's the investigative side of the house and there's the protection side of the house, and you will get to play in both sides during your career. The next job that I went to after that was the State Department with the classified information. I now protect paper instead of people, and in order to do that, you have to have a high clearance, as they mentioned, top secret with SCI, and what that involves is you have to have a clean record, basically. Both of these jobs require a clean record, which is what I would like to impress upon anyone at this level or this stage, or if you go to college and light goes on and you think you may want to become an agent. My advice, starting right now, is one of the basic requirements is a clean record, and by that I mean no arrest, drug usage, etc., etc. Now, why is that? Well, they're going to do a full field background, and a full field background starts right here in high school. When a person applies and we initiate a background, we go right out, we talk to the principals, the guidance counselors, your coaches, your teachers, and we find out whether you've been naughty or nice. And if you've been naughty, you're probably not going to get hired. Now, most kids think that this is like a cocoon, what goes on here stays here. Then you go to college, and what goes on in college stays there. It doesn't work that way. We will go back, and if you have any problems in your background, you're not going to get hired. So if you're thinking about federal law enforcement, state, I think even the state police conduct the same thing, you're going to have a clean record. Another thing, our particular outfit, the final step of it is a polygraph. And, in the application process, you can tell me most anything. I don't have a crystal ball, but when you get to that polygraph, you better be telling exactly what you did in your background. And we lose a lot of applicants right there. So I would point that out to you as just a little hint if you are inclined in that direction. I'd like to thank Hopewell Valley for the what I call the foundation of the education. I had no idea that I was going to wind up doing what I wound up doing. I came out of here, I was probably going to be a soccer coach, and that was it. And I appreciate the fact that the basic education that you receive in this good high school right here will enable you later down the road, if you have a career change or something comes your way, you go a different direction, just like I did. Hopewell Valley provides that type of and quality of education. I would also like to thank Hopewell Valley for this Wall of Fame. To me, this is a great teaching tool. If you think about it, like a Hall of Fame, it's forever. That will be on the wall down there for quite some time to come, 30, 40 years. From now, I'll probably be taking a dirt nap. Mr. Bear will probably be sitting on the front porch somewhere with a blanket around him. And some student that doesn't even exist, he's not even born yet, will go down this hall, look up there, and read some of these plaques, and maybe a light will go on. I think it's just a great teaching tool that they can be exposed to the talent and the careers and the employment that people have taken coming out of this one very good high school. I would also like to introduce my lovely wife, Diana, sitting here in the front, and my daughter, Courtney. I appreciate them sticking with me and going through these trials and tribulations that I encountered along the way. I would like to point out that Courtney is a terrific teacher in the Lawrence system and an even better cheerleading coach, and has placed numerous girls in college programs in this area, and to include Penn State. In conclusion, the directions given to me for this said, say something inspirational, and I kind of laughed. I said, well, I guess that's up my alley, because when I was up at West Point, they used to have all these sayings plastered around on the wall up there, which kind of made me laugh, because who needs less inspiration than a West Point cadet? But either way, they had them, and I'd like to give you just a couple of them in closing. The first one that I got a charge out of up there was, you can't climb the ladder of success with cold feet. I think that's pretty good. Another one is, the difficult part about making good is making good every day. Another one, the geology majors might like this one or understand it. It took me a while to get it. A diamond is a lump of coal that's stuck with it. I kind of like that one. My favorite one was given back to me by Courtney, and she found it on the playbook for the West Virginia football players, and it goes like this. In the jungle, and believe me, you all are going to be entering the jungle, in order to survive, if you're a lion, you have to run faster than the slowest gazelle. If you are a gazelle, in order to survive, you have to run faster than the fastest lion. But either way, when you wake up, your butt better be running. Thank you very much, and go Dogs.